So this is my Twinkling Granny Square motif, but joined as you go in the third round, when you're making a third round, as opposed to my original sweater design where it is joined with the border round, which is round 4. So this is quite handy if you're finding that the motif with the border is coming up a bit large to make your sweater, or perhaps you just prefer the look of this. So this is using join as you go, i.e. when we make the final round we're joining it to the rest of the fabric. So the finished measurement of this small motif with only 3 rounds is 7 centimeters. But obviously if you use thinner yarn, different size hook, that's going to be different for you, which is why it's always super important to make a little swatch like this, just to see how your squares are going to compare to my sweater recipe. So this is Sue's video for Sue, and it's for making the Twinkling Granny Square, but joining it in the third round rather than adding an additional border. So I'm just going to show you how to join 4, but you can use that principle to just continue adding as many as you like, because you're always joining in the final round, and I'm guessing each round is going to be a different colour, so you'll just be doing join as you go. So to start with, you always need to start with one completed motif, so one that's got 3 rounds, and then what you'll want to do next is make all the motifs but only up to round 2. So if you're doing a large section, you'll have to do a little bit of planning. You might want to do your your little chart like this, and just do it slightly differently in that you're just working out, you're marking off which ones you've done the first 2 rounds for before you start adding on with the third round. So I'm going to put the third round on this motif here, and I think I'm going to start in this corner, work my way around, and then when I get to this corner I'm going to join there, this side I'm going to join there, this corner join there, and then finish off this motif. So I'm just going to start off exactly the same way as the pattern, which is chain 5. I do a chain 4 though, 1, 2, 3, 4, because if I do a chain 5 I get a really big hole. So whichever way you were doing it, carry on doing it the same way. 3 double crochet into the corner, 2 double crochet between the next set of clusters, 2 double crochet between the next, make a corner which is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, two between the next set of clusters, two between the next, and now because I'm going to be joining at this corner, I'm only going to do half a corner, so that's 3 double crochet, chain 1, find the corner that I want to join to, and slip stitch. So I'm just grabbing the yarn, putting it through the chain 2 space and through the live loop on my hook, and I don't want that too tight because I'm going to be working back into that slip stitch later. Finish off the corner, chain 1, 3 double crochet, And now just make sure I haven't got anything twisted up. I'm going to drop loop join all the way along here after each set of stitches, each set of clusters. So I've done my 3 in the corner, take the loop off the hook, go into the space between the next set of cluster on the adjoining motif, and then carry on in pattern 2 double crochet, take the loop off, hook between the next set of clusters on the adjacent motif, pull that loop through, continue in pattern, which is 2 double crochets. I've got a very good free flow of yarn there, quite a few tails as well. Another drop loop join, take the loop off the hook between the, put the hook between the adjacent clusters from the next piece, pull that through, and now I'm going to do a partial corner with a join. So that's 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then slip stitch into that corner, chain 1, and then finish off this corner with 3 double crochet, and then finish off this whole side just in the normal pattern. So that's 2 double crochet between the next set, 2 double crochet between the next, and finish off this partial corner. We just need to put in 2 double crochets and join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of your beginning chain 5, or the 3rd chain of your beginning chain 4, depending on what you went for. So let's have a quick look at that. Should look like that. So I'm going to join this one next. I think you could join that one, doesn't really make any difference. Both follow a very similar sequence. I'm actually going to use this colour again for this one. So for this one, I'm probably going to start in this corner, work all the way around, partial corner, join with a slip stitch, finish the corner, drop loop joins between clusters, make a partial corner, join with a slip stitch into this slip stitch that I made here. So chain 4 or 5 depending on what you're doing, 3 double crochet into the corner, this is annoying, 2 double crochet between the next set of clusters, and same again, full corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, 2 double crochet between the next set, and now I'm ready for a partial corner, 3 double crochet, chain 1, because that's going there, and I'm joining in this corner. So I'm just positioning that above where I'm going. I find it a bit easier to do it that way, going into that corner. I'm going to join with a slip stitch, then I'm going to chain 1, Then I'm going to finish off this corner with 3 double. And have a quick look at where we are to make sure we're going in the right direction. So you want to go along there, drop, loop, join, two double crochets between the next set of clusters, drop, loop, join between the set of clusters on the adjacent piece, 2 double crochets, drop, loop, join, three double crochet in the corner, chain 1, and here we have the slip stitch from the previous join. So you can see, if you actually look at it, if you open that up, you can see that the actual top of the slip stitch is there. You're not actually going to crochet into there because we're doing join as you go. If you sort of brush upwards with your thumb, you should be able to see the legs of that slip stitch, and you're going from right to left through those legs. So you're not going into the top of the slip stitch, you're going through those legs, and then you're just slip stitching into there. Oops, lost that. Chain 1, 3 double crochet back in that corner, and then 3 double crochet between the next 2 double crochet, sorry, 2 double crochet between the next space, 2 double crochet between the next, 2 double crochet in the last corner, and slip stitch into the 3rd chain. So we're stealing part of this beginning chain to become our last stitch. Slip stitch into the 3rd chain and fasten off. Let's have a quick look now. So don't worry, it will look a lot better once you've washed and blocked it, but so far that looks fine. And now we're going to add this last piece here. So again, we just need to think about what we're doing here. I'm going to start at that corner, work my way around, join to that corner, join a side along there, and then I'm going to be joining in this corner where these 3 motifs are converging. Join along there, in that corner, up there, and finish off. So just a reminder that every time you start a new round, just start in a different corner so that your eye isn't drawn to the slight variance of the chain 3 at the start. So 1, 2, 3, so I've got chain 4 or 5 depending on what you've been doing, 3 double crochets, 2 double crochets between the next, 2 double crochet between the next, and now this one is a join because remember we've got less, this one is joining. All the ones we've done so far have only joined on one side, so this one just joined along one side there, this one joined along one side there, but this one is joining on 2 sides, so we don't need to make as much of the final border as we have with some of the others. Chain 1, make sure we're joining in the right spot here, slip stitch join, so I'm literally just grabbing that yarn and pulling it through, chain 1, and 3 double crochet in that corner, drop loop join into the next, 2 double crochet, drop loop join between the next set of clusters, 2 double crochet between the next set, drop loop join, 3 double crochet because we're making a corner. So this is a partial corner again, and we're going to be joining into here. So we have got 3 double crochet, chain 1, and then we need to go back into that very first slip stitch that we made. And what you should be able to see, put that back on there, is that it's made like a little ring where you've worked stitches into it. So remember, this piece is the last piece you joined here, so anything coming off that is not what you're working into. This was the first, this piece here is where you did your very first slip stitch join, and we can see that that is coming from there, and that's where we're going to be working into. Slip stitch join. It's a little bit tight now. Chain 1, 3 double crochet. Mess that up, do it again. 1, 2, 3. Now let's just have a quick look where we are. We're now joining along this edge here. So drop loop join between the next set of clusters. Double crochet between the set on the motif you're working on, drop loop join between the set of clusters from the adjacent motif, double crochet, 2 in there, 2 double crochet, drop loop join, and 3 double crochet into the corner. And then this is a partial corner before we join. So 3 double crochet, chain 1 in the corner, slip stitch, chain 1, three double crochet into that corner, and then carry on in the pattern. 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 2 in the last corner, slip stitch join into the third chain of your beginning chain 5 or 4 depending on what you did, and fasten off. So let's have a look at that. It looks quite nice. Does need to be blocked really. Might actually add a couple more on there just to give a better idea of what it looks like. The good thing about this, the join as you go, where you're only joining every round because each round is a different colour, is you're much more flexible in just being able to add bits on as and when you like, as opposed to the continuous join where you really got to kind of make sure you know exactly where all your motifs are going before you start. So here's another example of finding the slip stitch join, the first one you made. So this one's a bit easier to see because I've got 3 different colours here. So you can see that this was the first motif, because this motif has got no slip stitch, it's just got a chain 2 corner. And then you can see that it's got this darker colour yarn, it's got a slip stitch in there, and then this lighter colour yarn has been slip stitched into that slip stitch join, so which has then formed, you can see that the motif it was joined to, that's just the tail end there, is sort of sliding around in there. And then you can see that the first slip stitch join you made has formed a kind of a ring where the second slip stitch join went into. So that means now when I come to join this next piece, I'm going to be working into the first slip stitch join, which was that ring, the darker ring, the darker yarn there. So here you can see the fabric pre-washing and blocking. So I'm going to go and wash and block that, and hopefully you'll be able to see the difference in drape and stitch definition. So here is our little swatch of fabric which has been washed, blocked and dried, and as you can see this has massively improved the drape of the fabric, the softness, the stitch definition. It's really brought out the motif to its best effect, and that is the beauty of using natural fibres. It's very difficult to get this with acrylic or synthetic fibres unless you actually kind of overheat or melt the plastic almost into shape. And for clothing, obviously, these kind of natural fabrics give a much better look than acrylics. This is Rowan felted tweed, which is labelled as a double knit, but I think it's more of a sport weight. So it's absolutely brilliant for crochet garments, because I find that crochet garments very quickly get far too chunky and too bulky and don't have very good drape when you start using yarns that are a bit more on the chunky and thicker side. Also becomes quite difficult to manage sizing with motifs when the motifs are very large. The smaller the motifs, the more options you've got for sizing really. So this Rowan felted tweed is 50% wool, merino wool with 25% alpaca and 25% viscose. So it's a really nice, I would recommend it for crocheted garments. Also comes in a really fantastic range of colours.